Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Welcome on into the Sports Buffoon Studios. We have Tanner Dawson over here.
What's up, guys?
And as well as Jason JG.
What's up, guys? Good to be back with you all with the crew on a Wednesday night.
Absolutely great to have you back. I know you were missing last week, Jason, but it's great to have you back. I know your solo was wonderful this past weekend, and I look forward to very many more of those as the NBA season rolls on because your takes on the NBA are phenomenal. And this is, as you guys said, this is Mike Settle. We're going to be going on about the KC Chiefs and Buffalo Bills quite a bit tonight, and we'll be hitting hard on the playoff topics as well as some retirement topics that we need to be hitting on as well. But first and foremost, Tanner, did you notice, or did either one of you notice, that the city of Buffalo removed KC Masterpiece Barbecue from their shelving? This is a way to give a big FU to Kansas City. What do you think about that?
So, what are you saying in response? We need to remove all tables from stores? Or what?
Remove all tables, remove all buffalo sauce.
Buffalo sauce.
I do have a problem with that. And the reason I have a problem with that is because that's a beta move. Like you shouldn't be reactive. You should, just take care of business, right? And so if they took all the KC Masterpiece barbecue sauce off their shelves, that means they're pretty scared right now. And that's not how you want to be if you're the city of Buffalo trying to win a freaking game.
I mean, snooze they lose off of something so great too, so whatever. Not bothering me any.
Yeah, that would be like us if we're playing the Broncos, and I'm like, that's what I boycott all breweries from Colorado. Sorry, but I kind of like beer from Colorado, so I'm going to keep drinking that.
We're not going to do that.
Regardless of what NFL team plays out there. So, Tanner, by the way, speaking of Colorado, you're drinking what?
Yeah, so you brought back a Odd 13 Brewing, the Colorado Kid. It is a locally sourced hazy Indiana Pale Ale, a nice IPA. And you know what? Real quick, pinky up.
Wow.
That's actually quite tasty, too. This is probably a damn good beer you brought back, dude.
Nice. Glad you got to have the last one.
Appreciate it.
Pack on
Appreciate
that
it.
JG, what you sipping on over there?
I do the same thing every single week. It's Crown and Cokes. I'm a simple man there, Mike.
He's a simple kind of man.
It's my brother's favorite song to play.
It's a great song, by the way. Leonard Skinner did a good job, and
Simple
so did
Man,
Shinedown of those versions.
Yeah, that's true.
So kicking it in real quick as far as what we think about the Chiefs real quick, as far as injury to Patrick Mahomes, which is the big topic of the week as of right now. We are here on a Wednesday night, coming out to you in the morning on a Thursday morning. Patrick Mahomes actually did not have a concussion, despite any reports you've actually heard. It was actually a pinched nerve in his neck, the kind of little stinger kind of deal. He actually held out of the rest of the game by staff, but he does not actually have a concussion, despite what has been said out there to the public. I want that to be known on our podcast, and I think there's been different reports coming out there about that, and Carrington Harrison had a report come out from 610 stating that there is no issues whatsoever. Mahomes did practice today, and Mahomes will be good to go as far as we understand at this moment.
Yeah, so something that I watched the Pat McAfee show. I don't know if you guys do. Fabulous show, by the way. Props. So that dropped on Monday where Carrington got called out. So there's more detail going on Patrick Mahomes' injury. So it is treated as a concussion through the concussion protocol.
Correct.
Because it deals with the nerves around his neck, his shoulder, his neck. That's where it really got hit. That's why you're hearing all the concussion protocols. It is not a typical concussion. It is more around the nerves around the ear. Just to clarify for everybody around what's going on with our guy.
Yeah, it's very, very controversial because I think even in the post-game interview with Andy Reid, he actually said that he got hit in the back of the head. And I was sitting there watching the game. I was like, no, he never got hit in any part of his head. And so, it was a tweaked nerve in the neck. I don't want you guys out there thinking that this is sort of a Peyton Manning issue when Peyton Manning had to sit out for a long time. That's not what this is. So it is not a concussion. So there's been a lot of disinformation out there, and my opinion on this is that the NFL. So this is my first hot take of the podcast. The NFL is going to make sure that Patrick Mahomes moves through the protocol rapidly, and I want to throw this out here. I am speaking directly to the NFL right now. I dare you, NFL, to keep Patrick Mahomes out of this game, because the NFL will destroy its own ratings if they somehow not let Patrick Mahomes play in this game. They're also going to destroy their Super Bowl ratings if, in fact, Buffalo was able to pull this out, if Mahomes doesn't play. And so I'm calling out the NFL right now, but this isn't going to happen. So Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL. Do you understand that? So the face of the NFL, just rest assured they are not going to allow this guy to not play in this game. So I want to be clear on that. Are you guys in agreement with me on that?
That's fair, and he should play. He's probably going on step 4, and they do have to bring an outside consultant in to figure it out, make sure that he is clear to play. It's not just the NFL protocols. They bring in an outside firm to check on it to clear him as well, on top of everything else the NFL has. So he is going into step 4, most likely tomorrow, as it sounds like. So he should be clear to go by Friday.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about Patrick Mahomes right now. What I will say to add on to what you said, Jason, was that it's probably going to add to the people who out there have conspiracy theories about the NFL, which some of us do, some of us don't, but they will then eventually at some point talk about Patrick Mahomes. Well, they couldn't let the face of the NFL, skip a game because of a concussion. They had to push him through the protocol and make sure he was okay and make sure he's allowed to play in the game. But I think based on what we've seen as far as the actual injury itself and discussions from the coaches, we know this. We've seen this. So we're going to pay attention to this as it goes on. And it's nothing to be worried about. But I think there will be people and haters out there, especially on the Bills sideline, who are going to be saying this was a rigged ordeal to where Mahomes is suddenly able to play 1 week after a quote-unquote concussion.
So I work with a lot of people outside of KC, right? Well, I got one guy up in that was your mic. I got one guy up in up in Minnesota, Doubles, Jake, my buddy. He likes to give me crap on Patrick Mahomes. I think he secretly loves him. I know this, but he's calling this the concussion gate with Patrick Mahomes coming back so fast. I know he's joking. I hope he's joking, but I deal with a lot of hate up there. Trust me. They, for some reason, all of a sudden, like this, guys, like this, a snap. We are hated.
Exactly. That was fast, Tanner.
It was quick.
Like all of a sudden now it's like we have a bunch of hate on us. Like, the NFL is going to help him out, and the NFL is going to make sure that their guy makes it on to go to the next level of the playoffs.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
But besides Mahomes, you guys, I want to talk about a couple other guys coming back potentially here. We're looking at, I think it looks like we're going to be having, was it Watkins could be back this week?
We got Watkins, who practiced today. Rashad Fenton practiced today. And Clyde practiced today.
Good. That is the core of those guys we missed last week with Clyde, Sammy, and Fenton. And they're all back.
So our Rashad Breeland was the other one, the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And he is currently, he did a light workout today. It was a light practice, Andy Reid said. So he should be doing a little bit more workout. He may not be cleared until game time. It might come down to the game time decision. So not too sure on him, but guys, we're looking pretty damn good on our health-wise for injuries coming back in this game.
Now, do you guys have a quick recap of the game, by the way, against the Cleveland Browns? The Chiefs won 22-17. Anything you want to say or mention about that game in particular? For myself, I was very worried whenever I saw Chad Henne come in. I was very pacing back and forth. I thought for sure that this would be the old Chiefs of the past. The old playoff history was going to come back and bite us like it hasn't before times without Mahomes, as we know. And it did come down to that. Once Mahomes went out with an injury, I felt like it might have been our doomsday once again. But Chad Henne prevailed. The defense stepped up at times. What do you guys think about this game?
Yeah, with Chad Henne, I mean, I was never worried about it. I never thought that we were going to choke in this game. Like Patrick Mahomes said, anything is possible.
So many henny puns.
But as you guys know on this show, it doesn't matter what the sport is that we're talking about. I go defense first. So not surprising to me that Spagnuolo and that defense, they forced Cleveland to punt. And so that defense was top 7, guys, most of the year. So don't forget that. They ended up a little bit lower because, they had their backups in that Week 17 game. But looking at that gutsy call by Andy Reid, what do you guys think about that call? Because I don't think they really needed it. I believed in that moment. I believed in the Chiefs' defense. And in general, I believe in that Chiefs' defense in clutch situations. And so while I appreciate the gutsy call by Andy Reid to go for it on 4th down, I think we still would have stopped them.
Jason, we got the most weapons on offense. Chad Henne is now playing with the backups. I love that call. I love being aggressive. You need to play that way to win the game, to win the playoffs, guys. That made me so happy for that call, just because of how aggressive he wasn't. He's confident with Henne, and it shows it. He's confident with Chad Henne, and he used our number 1 weapon in Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, well, he also showed that he might have been a little bit too confident in Chad Henne, based on the fact that they drew up that play with Chad Henne throwing the long bomb, pretending that he was Patrick Mahomes, and then Chad Henne threw an interception. And I feel like in some ways that's a good thing, because I feel like Chad Henne is going to learn a good lesson from that, and offensive coordinator is going to learn a good lesson from that. So
I'm not worried about that play. I really wasn't. Like, it was a bomb. It could have been Chad Henne's decision to throw that ball in the first place. He saw something, and it was a horrible decision. Obviously, it's a turnover. It's killed the drive.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
But
here's the thing: if that game was earlier on, say that happened in the second quarter,
that would have been trouble.
Then the Browns take over from there.
Because the Browns ran the ball actually fairly decent.
That happened in the stage of the game where we still controlled the points as well as the clock. So
correct.
That's where we had the luck on our side, but came down to the defense making plays there at the end to control that whole thing as well. Chad Henne is not a guy we want to have playing anytime soon for this team on offense, despite the talent we have on our team as it is.
But hey, we know we appreciated the effort and that 3rd down run. Like we aren't going to the next round without that run. So
true, give him credit for that. Absolutely, it was a 14.5-yard run.
Who knew Chad Henne could run that?
And then
fast?
we got the last half a yard that pass to Tyreek Hill to finish off the game.
It's like watching Steve Young out there,
which was yeah, right there. Well, a right-handed Steve Young.
That's right.
That's the thing was basically getting a correct play call for the right situation. And I don't know if you ever watched Tyreek Hill's route. If you went back and watched that play again, Tanner, Tyreek Hill's route on that play, you can't defend that.
No,
that's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous. How do you cover this?
Because he made that
1-yard route.
He made that cut, that first jab in. Fast. And, all the defensive guys right now, you see him take just one jab a certain direction,
exactly.
They're going that way.
His first step was inside on that ankle defender.
And then he hops outside.
And then his immediate body goes straight to the outside. And it was the quickest 1-yard play I've ever seen.
And without that being a zone.
The way he ran that route.
Yeah, without that being amazing. A full zone defense.
Yeah, so he's wide open, of course, on that play.
Yeah, I like to call that play the mini wasp. Because most teams, they're not going to stop the jet chip wasp, but they're not going to stop the mini wasp either.
We can call that the stinger.
The stinger.
We'll call it a stinger on that one. So before we dive into our future here, going into the Chiefs versus Bills, I did want to go over a couple things with you guys. I actually had a few questions because we saw a few things interesting today. We found out today Phillip Rivers is retiring, former 16 years with the San Diego / LA Chargers, as well as 1 year with the Indianapolis Colts. And that's a legacy that I think we'll always remember. And I think most people will always appreciate as well because the guy played almost every game. The guy was never injured. He played through injuries. He was there game in, game out. If you guys want a couple Phillip Rivers statistics for yourselves before I really dig deep into this, my question at the end of this, before you answer me, is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Famer? And his record career-wise is 136 and 106. So 20-game difference in win-loss. He had 12 4,000-yard seasons, which is super solid, right? 12 4,000-yard seasons. That's great. He had 421 touchdowns and 209 interceptions, but he finished it off 5-7 in the playoffs for his career, record-wise. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys quite yet about if he's a Hall of Famer, but what's your guys' input on Phillip Rivers? What do you think about him retiring today?
Man, how about a guy with just being the mental foundation for himself on through all these rough years and the bad teams, right? So I know he went through his team literally year in, year out with the Chargers, where they were just they looked great in the preseason, and then just their yearly round of injuries came and they were gone. And the next thing you know, you have Phillip Rivers playing with a bunch of backups. And the guy's still sitting out there. He threw the ball despite however many interceptions he threw, especially towards the end there. He'd go out and he'd still be chucking the ball even though he'd throw an interception. He'd come out still do the same thing. Like his mental fortitude, like it just blows my mind when you look back at his career on how just the way he performed each year in year out.
Yeah, he did. You're right about that. And I remember like a little bit like Stevie Johnson. He made him look real good, and Najera Tutu, another big name.
It's just crazy.
They made him look pretty good, but the guy was just he found a lot of ways to lose games. At the same time, he did it with a lot of lack of talent too.
And guess what? He went out there and tried it again and again. So.
Yeah, when I think about Phillip Rivers, the first thing that comes to mind is his longevity and the amount of games that he started, but also the fact that. These last few years, what do we think about when we first talk about the Chargers? Those last few years with the Chargers, the first thing that comes to my mind is injuries. Like all of his players, like a lot of the players on those teams were injured, and they just got kind of an injury plague. And so he could have been, a lot better. They could have gone further in the playoffs these last few years when he was with the Chargers, but it just didn't happen, and so it's kind of like a luck factor, He can't control the fact that a lot of his guys were getting injured on those teams. So, but yeah, I'm not supposed to answer my question yet.
Not yet, but Jason, I want to say about that, when you ask the question, what do you think about when you think about the Chargers, historically, in the past 15 years or so? And you think about injuries, that's correct. But I also think about how do you find ways to lose games? And they're really good at it. They're really good at finding ways to lose games.
Whether it's defense or offense.
Now, Tanner, do you remember the game of 2010, I believe it was, Chiefs versus Chargers, where it was, I think, Halloween night. Phillip Rivers botched the snap on a kneel down.
I think
it was recovered by none other than the K-State alum at the time. Gosh, what is his name? It's airing in my head right now.
Are you talking about the safety?
Not the safety. I'm not talking about the safety. It was a linebacker we had on the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if it's K-State, you're going to have a difficult time figuring out a name on this show.
All right, Jason. You can say that, I suppose. Don't bring up any KU players, though.
No, we don't want to go there either.
I got Hall of Famers.
The Chiefs had a linebacker from Kansas State ended up recovering that fumble on a botched snap on Halloween, and it was like, how do you lose a game in that fashion on a botched snap type of a situation? And it was stuff like that, and it was stuff like the other games we played against the Chargers in the past, where Rivers would have the ball at the very end and find ways to just lose, or they'd had other running backs in the past just find ways to fumble the ball at the end, and they're just well known for finding ways to lose. They are the literally the Atlanta Falcons of the AFC. It's the exact same team. They're both identical.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. They did find ways to lose, but how would you feel if your own city of San Diego kicked you out of their city? I mean that's got to be just like totally depressing for a quarterback.
Rivers never wanted to leave that place.
I know he didn't want to leave.
Monte Beasel.
Monte Beasel.
Nice.
That's right.
Monte Beasel.
Thanks, Hammett.
Thank you.
We knew you knew.
Hammett. Listening in. I can't see the other laptop from over here, so I figured you'd have the answer if you're listening in. But yes, he, I think, was the one to recover the fumble in that situation.
But just
That
think
was
about
11
that.
years
Think
ago.
about that for a second, though. Would you want to spend the end of your career like that with a city that kicked you out into another city that couldn't give a damn about you, the Los Angeles Chargers, and then you get sent to Indianapolis? I mean, that's you got to look at his numbers. So if we're doing a Hall of Fame question here, you got to look at the numbers.
Don't dive yet.
I'm not diving.
Just telling you.
Don't dive yet into
Not
it.
diving.
But I understand what you're saying, and it's very debatable in this topic. But here we are talking about, I'm going to give two guys props about retirement here. And the other one, as has been stated, or reported, I should say, is Drew Brees played his last snap in the NFL. That has been stated by a source, and Drew Brees' career record is 172 and 114 all time. And so that's a great win-loss record for sure. Now his totals right now is 571 for touchdowns, 243 for interceptions. He finishes currently fifth all-time passer rating of 98.7. Fifth all-time. Now, do you guys not believe? Are you guys surprised by his retirement? What do you guys think about this?
No, I told you when we did the poll questions last month, I told you guys he was retiring because he talked about it last year. I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised by it, but what do you guys think?
No, I can't believe it's official. Is that like, what's your source on that?
We had a source from a reporter before the game, actually, this past weekend, of Drew Brees that stated that Drew Brees would be his last game. So Drew Brees, as far as we all know right now, is retiring.
Yeah, I mean,
report for the game.
I can believe that only because Phillip Rivers just retired, who is younger than Drew Brees.
A little bit.
But, you know, it's fun to talk about those two guys' careers because when you talk about Drew Brees, there's no question. We don't have to ask the question, is this guy a Hall of Famer? We already know. It's in the bag. You can take it to the bank. And so, but it's these guys are both, in my mind, they're a couple of legends.
You think Rivers is a legend?
Dude, he's 17
absolutely.
years.
Okay.
But you have to define legend because when I look at Phillip Rivers, he's a top maybe 50 quarterback of all time, top 40.
Absolutely, I agree with
But
that.
Drew Brees is top 10. So it's two different levels, but I still think they would both have a chance. I mean, Brees, we already know is going to be a Hall of Fame.
So with your statement there, Jason, before we dive into a little bit of Chiefs and Bills, which we will hear very quickly in the next 10 minutes or so, I want to ask you straight point blank, Rivers, Hall of Famer, yes or no? All three of us.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Based on numbers and legacy alone, despite the lack of playoff wins, Rivers to me is a Hall of Famer. Now, I have another one for you guys. We're going to dive into this as we go down. I have 5 more guys for you to talk about. And the next one is a linebacker, actually. Going in, this is all guys that could be retiring this year. So you keep that in mind.
Could be.
Could be, not officially, but most likely. Thomas Davis from the Carolina Panthers slash Chicago Bears actually came out the exact same year, I think, as Derek Johnson from the Kansas City Chiefs. And he finished off with 859 tackles. He had an injury-ridden, lots of ACL tears, stuff like that. He had 90 tackles for loss, 13 picks, and 18 forced fumbles. Is he a Hall of Famer in your mind, Tanner?
Man, I wasn't prepared for this one because I needed to look out.
Doesn't matter. We don't need his answer. I will give you
Yes?
a definite
yes?
yes on this question.
Yes, we're gonna say
Only because he was on my fantasy team a couple of years, and he was a tackling machine.
So I mean,
So
the guy
I'll put him in the Hall of Fame all day long.
So Thomas Davis, yes, he was a threat with Carolina. He was the guy you did not want to go up against. Yes, I will go yes to the Hall of Fame.
I'm going to go no on the Hall of Fame for Thomas Davis for myself. I think he's 37 years old. He's a very great player, but I do not think he is a Hall of Fame worthy linebacker necessarily.
So basically, he sucks. Is that what you're
Nope,
saying?
not at all. Not at all. You know what?
Average.
Now let me tell you this next guy before I say his name. This is very easy. Where I know you guys might already have your ideas about what he's going to do in his future.
Please don't give me a punter. That's all I ask.
Dustin Colquitt.
Oh my gosh, he just did.
Hall of Famer, baby.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Well, before I answer that, how many punters are currently in the Hall of Fame?
One.
One.
I'd put Dustin in there.
Okay, what is his name? The guy that's already in there.
I blew a point.
Oh, you can't even say his name.
I can't play his name right now.
Okay, that's all right. Well, I'm going to give him a big fat no on that question because
Ray Guy, baby, Ray Guy.
He played for the Raiders, though.
Come on, guys.
Ray Guy had a 48 punt average for him.
Yeah, he was ridiculous.
We do not put punters in the Hall of Fame. You know why? Because there are so many other skill position players that have been snubbed over the years that are not in the Hall of Fame. So I don't believe in putting punters in the Hall of Fame, period. End of story. But you guys might have different thoughts on that.
No, I wasn't going to do that to you until you mentioned it, but I'm going to go ahead and do this instead. We have one player who's up in the air still. I'm just going to say this. He, has 121 touchdowns, 1,432 receptions, which is only second to Jerry Rice. His long of 18 yards in 2020 is very concerning. Let's keep that in mind. He just sold his $18 million mansion, which is the third most expensive sale in Arizona history.
Man.
And he's the second most in yards all time, only behind Jerry Rice.
I wonder who this is.
None other than Larry Fitzgerald. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Absolutely. I was getting scared there for a minute.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Dwayne Bowe. But since you said Larry Fitzgerald, I mean that's a non-issue. That's a lock.
If he retires, put him in right now. I'm not.
Where did you get? What are you talking even Dwayne Bowe relation?
He's a
to
Chiefs
this guy?
fan. He's a Chiefs fan. I
Oh.
thought he might throw Dwayne
Oh
Bowe
my
in
lord,
That doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make those stats doesn't make Dwayne Bowe sense.
One more, which is actually this one to me is actually controversial, you guys. I think it actually is because part of me says no, part of me says yes because of longevity. But we have 81 touchdowns, third all time in yards, 16,000 rushing yards on the dot. Frank Gore. Is he a Hall of Famer, yes or no?
Yes.
That is a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. You have to put him in the Hall of Fame. Only because I have many, many, many of his rookie cards, and I want to sell them for a high price. But other than that, you got to look at the guy's stats. He is a baller.
Yes.
And so he's easily in. I mean, he's kind of like, to me, he's like Drew Brees. You don't even ask the question. You just throw him in there.
Now, does it bother you that 3 of the last 5 years he's had under 4 yards per carry?
No.
No, not really, because he's old as dirt for a running back.
All right, he's coming up on 37. That's pretty crazy, actually, as a
running backs don't last that long. I mean, running backs retire when they hit like 31 or something.
He's
like
actually
that.
726 yards from hitting Walter Payton, which is second all time. I don't think you can hit that. I don't think you can be on a good team and a good enough team to hit that number.
You're going to put him in the Hall of Fame. You know you would. If
Oh, yeah,
you were
of
a
course.
voter.
You got to. He's third all time in rushing yards.
But you said that you were on the fence.
Well, 81 touchdowns. Played on a lot of bad teams.
He played on a lot of bad teams.
He didn't do
but he's
quite-
third in rushing.
Don't punish
Are
the
you kidding
player.
me?
You can't punish the player because he was on bad
he
teams.
sucks.
This isn't Barry Sanders. This is longevity here speaking.
Man, I don't.
I still say put Frank Gore in there.
Yes.
Because he deserves it.
Yes.
No problem.
We're putting him in.
All right. And I have another one for you guys. He's 33 years old, currently playing in the NFL. He's been well known as being a shutdown. He's got 15 interceptions for his career. He's Josh Norman. In or out?
Out.
I'm going to say out on that just because there was a kind of a severe drop-off after he got his first big contract.
Yeah.
And you never hear about that name anymore. I mean, nobody ever talks about Josh Norman.
No.
And so he was really, really great in the first few years, but then when the drop-off happened, it was just like, dude, where are you?
Like, here's what happened. We had, like, guys like Ty Law. Then we had Darrelle Revis. Then we had, like, Champ Bailey coming in. And then all of a sudden it was like Josh Norman was involved in that mix of guys who were, like, shut down corners. And Norman was good for, like, what, 2 years?
Here's got a good contract.
Here's the thing about Josh Norman. Do you guys remember when he, like, I think he shut down and he got into a fight with Odell Beckham Jr. that one time. And I think that he thinks in his own mind that he destroyed Odell Beckham Jr.'s career. And maybe that's all he wanted. And that's fine, but you still got to show up to work and, you know, show some skills. And He just hasn't really shown that since that moment.
I'll put it this way: he's a no for me, and he's out of this league.
Yeah.
I think he's done.
He's done.
He's done. He's done.
As a corner, no, you're done.
No.
I think he gave up, unfortunately. I don't want to see that with these guys, but I think he gave up.
I do have 2 tight ends left for you guys, and you know how I feel about tight ends. I like them when they're young, but I'm going to go with Rob Gronkowski. Is he in or out? I'm going to give the numbers real quick.
You have to?
Touchdowns.
Why do you have to give the numbers?
Because 86 touchdowns, Tanner. 8,484 yards, which is 6th all-time for a tight end. Tanner, that is almost half of what Tony G did.
Okay, first of all, everybody agrees with your first statement, which is we like the tight ends young, okay? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not like a hot take or anything else. We all agree with that. When I talk about Rob Gronkowski, to me, that's a no-brainer. Like, you put the guy in the Hall of Fame.
How many rings does he have?
Doesn't matter.
How many rings does he have?
1, 2.
Doesn't matter.
I think he's at 3, right?
Oh,
if you're a tight end, okay, how many rings does Tony Gonzalez have? 0.
Oh, 0.
So if you're a tight end and you have a ring, you are in the Hall of Fame. If you're putting up those kind of numbers.
You're a dominant tight end. You got the rings, and we got to talk about numbers? Like, come on. You know the guy's in.
Gronk's in.
Easy.
Gronk is in.
He's passed in.
And by the way, I'm going to say this on the podcast officially. Travis Kelce yards per game is 71 for his career, whereas Gronk all-time is second. All-time, 64.8. So Travis Kelce has 6 more yards per catch than any other tight end of all time.
Well, neither one of those guys that you just mentioned is as good as Antonio Gates. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now.
Bullshit for another day, Jason. Tanner, I have one more just for you, Tanner. We're playing a little game. Finish up the game here. Greg Olson.
Oh, dude, yes. By
Is
far.
that a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Why?
Guy's dominant. He's been around forever. He's been effective on almost every team he's been on, except for his injury year this year. The guy is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with no on Greg Olson, and it's mainly just because of his position. And I know that he had a few injuries in there, but there's no way that I'm putting Greg Olson in the Hall of Fame. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I honestly think that Greg Olson is Jason Witten light. I think that it's the light version of Jason Witten.
He's the poor man's Jason Witten.
The poor man's Jason Witten, absolutely.
All right. Hold on now. Hold on now.
What are you looking at, Tanner?
So, 13 seasons. This is his 14th. So, across 13 seasons, 718 receptions, 8,440 yards, and 59 touchdowns at the end of at the end of last year. Olsen made 3 consecutive Pro Bowls.
He's the poor man.
The guy has made it quietly Pro Football Hall of Fame resume, I'd say. I'd say he's in, by far.
He's out.
The numbers show he is in.
He's out.
I'll put him out.
Yep. Put him out. Put him out of his misery. That's what I want to do.
I'd rather have Fred Arbanis than have Greg Olson. All right, you guys. Are you done with our bullshit there?
I'm done with that, man.
All right. I figured you liked that segment there, but it was a surprise, as we call it. Surprise. It was a butt surprise. All right, so let's talk about Chiefs-Bills. Get to the nitty-gritty, what we're talking about today. I am very much looking forward to this. We're going to be heading over to Twin Peaks to hang out ourselves. If you guys want to go over here and you're local, then come join us here at the Twin Peaks in Olathe, here over in Olathe, Kansas. And we'll be over there. Come say hi. Join us in for our celebrations over there. Tanner will be there somewhere around halftime, I think, but I know I'll be there for a while. But first and foremost, this game is not going to be easy. It's not going to be quite as easy as the Browns were looking into it, because Josh Allen is legitimate and he's a great quarterback, as well as the fact of Stephon Diggs played at a Offensive Player of the Year caliber type of stature this season. 127 catches end of the year, I believe. He blew up, and it was just something I expected to have happen. But the way that they connected, quarterback to receiver, you cannot replicate that. That is only a very special thing. And so, what do you guys think about this matchup? I want to ask you first, Jason. Actually, what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, well, when I look at this game is, you got to look at the fact that Mahomes is going to play. However, I am going to give you guys a hot take right now, and my hot take is that they don't even need Patrick Mahomes to play in this game. Because if Sammy Watkins and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are back, we understand that Mahomes is a generational talent. But we got to give credit to some of these other weapons that are on this team. They don't need Patrick Mahomes against the Buffalo Bills. And the reason why they don't need him is because, Josh Allen didn't play very well when we played them in Week 6, okay? You're looking at a 26-17 score. Josh Allen was 14 of 27 for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And so that's my hot take. We don't need Patrick Mahomes. Now, he is going to play, okay? Rest assured, I don't want you guys to get scared out there. But I'm just trying to make a point here. We do have the number 1 offense in the NFL, okay? We put up 415 yards per game, and we're right up there at the top in points, 29.6 points per game. So I don't want you guys out there to worry about Patrick Mahomes because I do believe he is going to play, but we don't need him because I just don't believe in the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are the number 17 rush defense. So how does that play out if you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back? Not even him. What if you just have Darrell Williams, right? So Darrell Williams was 13 carries, 78 yards. Last week against the Browns, he had 6 yards per carry. So we don't even need that. But honestly, we could just run the ball the whole game and destroy these guys. I do not believe in that Buffalo Bills rush defense. They're giving up 120 yards per game. They gave up 150 yards to Baltimore, which was not great considering the fact that you expect Baltimore to run the ball. You already know that they're running the ball. They like to run. So overall, I don't believe in the rush defense of Buffalo. Looking at the overall defense, Buffalo is number 16 in the league. And what does that say to me? That is a mediocre defense. And you look at the Chiefs defense, like I've said earlier on my other podcast, the Chiefs were top 7 for most of the season. So I am not worried about the Chiefs defense. Buffalo, on the other hand, they give up 23, 24 points a game. Dude, their defense is just not that good. And so I'm not worried about this game at all. You guys can take this to the bank. I'm not going to give you my final score at this time. So we gotta save that for 10 seconds later, Tanner, because I know you're ready to talk.
Mike, do you want to say it? Or do you want me to say it?
Which part, Tanner?
The first part. Do you want to say it or do you want me to say it?
No, I want you to say it.
We aren't winning the game with Chad freaking Henne at quarterback, all right?
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I agree.
I love the hot take. I love the confidence. I'm the first one to give confidence. Mahomes went down. I was in the bathroom talking to people, and I was like, guys, this is Chad Henne with the starters, not Chad Henne with the backups, trying to pump everybody back up, right? Mood's down. Guys, we're not beating Buffalo with Chad freaking Henne.
No, not for a whole game.
No.
You can get by with a quarter.
Guys, all he has to do is hand the ball off. That rushing defense sucks.
Do you know who our coach is, Jason? We have Andy Reid. We don't hand the ball.
We're not going to do that. We got Tyreek Hill, Clyde, Darrell Williams, and a little bit of Le'Veon, right? We got 4 guys that run the ball.
But Andy Reid is smart enough to not let Chad Henne launch the ball 50 yards and try to be Patrick Mahomes like he did in the last game.
No, look. Andy's going to throw the ball downfield. Banyan's going to throw the ball downfield. If whoever's at quarterback, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback.
I think the Bills have some pretty crappy linebackers, which to me spells like, hey, Kelsey could have a big day again, like he always almost does.
Yes.
That's not going to be an issue whatsoever. I think they're going to have probably some corners on him. I think Norman's actually, what's funny, he's actually technically a backup at left corner. So he's not actually one of their starters in that position because he's not been playing well at all. But Tre'Davious White will be on Tyreek Hill for most of the game. And that'll be the guy you want to watch that has some speed to at least somewhat keep up with Tyreek Hill.
Look, we got to use our whole offense.
Here's the deal, Tanner. We need Sammy Watkins.
And guess what, baby?
To get open.
Revenge game's about to come into play. He wasn't there for a Week 6 game. He wasn't there for that. You got to remember that. This is a revenge game for Sammy Watkins, and this is also a revenge game for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, it was a revenge game for the Bills for sure, and they lost by 9 points last time we played them back in October, I believe.
Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it's fine. I mean, the two best teams in the AFC, I believe the Bills are worthy of being in this situation for sure. But I think the Chiefs for sure should have the edge here on this game.
With a healthy Mahomes, a healthy
Clyde,
a healthy
that's the
Sammy.
assumption there.
I do believe in the revenge game factor for Sammy Watkins. Unlike the Kareem Hunt revenge game that was supposed to happen. Oh, by the way, that was not a revenge game.
Because it was personal.
You fired yourself, right? Nobody fired you. You fired yourself for being a stupid
idiot. So,
yeah, basically.
No, by far. It is. I think Sammy Watkins is actually looking forward. He was pretty bummed the last time we did play these guys. I'm looking forward to our freaking defensive line, our defense coming out, and hopefully continuing what they did on the Browns last quarter. So if we can continue just holding drives off, getting down to the third down, make them try to convert the third downs on defense again, and Tyrann Mathieu out there freaking taking hits. Did you see the hits he was taking to help with that run game?
Of course, that says Tyrann Mathieu.
My God, I love it. I love it.
That's him every week. He doesn't give a damn.
It's just amazing.
Honey Badger don't give a F.
He takes a 400-pound guy and gets freaking pancaked and gets up and starts laughing at him. So it's awesome. It's awesome. But I am not worried. We do have to use our weapons on offense. This game is not going to be guys. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. This is
they're in a much better position than they were last time we faced them.
Yeah, none of the three of us are worried about this game, but you know what I am worried about? I'm worried about Harrison Butker, because when I was sitting there watching that game, he could have easily blown this game with that missed extra point and that missed easy field goal. But when you look at the numbers, technically he won the game because he hit 3 field goals. So are you guys mad at Harrison Butker, or was he just rusty?
I think he was just Harrison Butker. I'm not mad. I'm just saying that's what he is.
Well, for me personally, I think he did knock off a little bit of rust. But, the guy is going to show up, I think, when it counts the most. And so, but we had a conversation about this earlier in the year, and I still maintain my same opinion on this. We got to go for 2. And it doesn't have to be every single time, but Andy Reid's got to go for 2 a little bit more often, because I don't want to sit there and put the game in Harrison Butker's hands, because I just don't trust him.
Yeah.
I trust him what do you trust him, Mike? 75, 80% of the time? But he's got to hit these easy kicks that he keeps missing.
I trust him at 80% of the time, yeah. But I would say going for 2, you got to be kind of strategic about when you're going for 2, depending on the game circumstance. You got to also play to the game script of what you're looking at. So I think that has to come into play. You can't just do it for the hell of doing it.
But they never do it, though. The Pittsburgh Steelers used to do it 100% of the time.
We're not in those situations.
A year or 2 ago, they started doing it. That's fine. The Steelers did not actually continue doing that.
No.
They stopped it after a short bit. And I think part of that actually comes into play about this. They're giving away too much of their red zone type of a strategy when they're going down and actually scoring touchdowns by giving away 2-point conversions as part of their strategy of what their play calling is. I think that comes into play with why the Steelers stopped doing it and why the Chiefs also are not doing it as often as you want them to be doing it.
Correct, yeah.
That's a fair point. And so what do you guys have as the final score on this game?
Final score? Gosh.
First of all, let's start with who's going to win.
Man.
Who's going to win the game, and what do you think the final score is going to be?
So we know the Chiefs are going to win, guys, right? We're all in agreement to that.
I'm going Chiefs.
The Chiefs are going to win.
Myself.
I think it's going to come down to a pretty close game. I'm going to go 34-31.
High scoring, Tanner?
High scoring,
Okay.
but close.
Yeah, so I've got 35-27, and my biggest point, we've already talked about this earlier, guys. It's not about Josh Allen, okay? He didn't put up that great of numbers the last time we played them. this is all about Stephon Diggs. If you can figure out a way to contain Stephon Diggs, we're going to win this game. It's period, end of story. It's that easy. But I do have 35-27 Chiefs.
I'm going to go over here with 27-24 Chiefs over Bills, and we'll be pinching our asses at the end of the game because we'll be scared to death. We'll be scared shitless at the end of this game. This will come down to a field goal, and I am very much expecting that to be the case. The Bills are not a fake team by any means. This is a legitimately good team who also has good depth. Keep that in mind. I even like a couple of their backups, like guys like Trent Murphy came from Washington as one of their defensive ends. Meanwhile, they have Jerry Hughes over there, Vernon Butler, Ed Oliver as their D tackles, Marion Addison. I just think they have good players on their squad, and I think that's going to be something to watch out for. And that receiver, we talk about Diggs and all that, but they have John Brown, Cole Beasley, and Diggs, and Gabriel Davis. That's a good group of guys, and Dawson Knox.
These guys aren't beat up either.
Dawson Knox actually helped me win a college football fantasy championship one year, like 3 years ago, which is kind of funny to think about. The problem is their running game is not great, but Casey's got to come with their best pass rushers and pass coverage guys to stop these guys.
So here's the other thing. Their running game sucks, Mike, and you and I talked about this earlier.
Absolutely.
And that's why when I say 35-27, I feel like I'm being conservative on this because I feel like this game has blowout potential. As you know, I just said that Chad Henne can win this game on his own. If you throw Patrick Mahomes into the mix, this has a potential to be like a 35-14 game. I give this game blowout potential, and I do believe that Patrick Mahomes is going to play. Josh Allen played like crap.
That would be a statement game, Jason. That would be a statement. If the Chiefs go out to the AFC Championship and blow them out, that's a statement.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying blowout, but would you all agree that 35-14 would be a blowout?
Absolutely. Especially in the AFC Championship game, that's a statement.
I see the potential for that.
We win more by 10 points in the championship game? Yeah. It's a statement.
You gotta understand, Josh Allen's never been in an AFC Championship game before in his life. And so, Patrick Mahomes, if he's in there, Josh Allen's probably going to have a long day. I think he's going to be very nervous in this game, and I don't necessarily think that you're going to see the Bills' best game when they run out there.
So what's the current over-under in this game, do you know?
It is -3 on the Chiefs side.
Now, was that before or after we know about Samuel Watkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Patrick Mahomes' health?
That was as of 3 hours ago.
Okay. And so let's assume we're going to have a healthy Sammy, healthy Clyde, and a healthy Pat. You're thinking
that's where I get the blowout potential.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why I was very conservative when I said 35-27. But
you're saying bet the game.
Well, I'm not going to tell you guys how to bet on this game, but we can talk about that later. But I'm just saying, if Patrick Mahomes plays, and all these other guys like CEH and Sammy Watkins play, the Buffalo Bills could be in for a very long, hard day.
So if you do want to bet now rather than wait till Sunday.
Do not wait until all of these guys are active.
Good point. Hey, real quick, guys, from comments real quick that we've had out of Facebook here. We got Hammett saying, Grayson, you better show up. We got Tim. Apparently, they think that we're afraid of playing them.
Dad
and Mom.
Afraid of playing Dad and Mom?
Yeah. All right, Tim, we're not going to give you the time of day because we're not worried about you because we're the best ping pong players around. And then Hammond again says, a big thing to watch is Allen trying to run with the ball. He has propensity to fumble while scrambling. I saw it a lot this year because he fumbled every other game for my fantasy team this year.
Hammett? Okay.
So, yeah, that is true. He actually did fumble a few times on scrambling that did hurt them in the game this year.
Yes, he does have a propensity to fumble the ball, but the bigger problem is, he is the best runner on that team, I would say. I mean,
at this point,
they have a crappy running game.
Here's the thing: they had Zach Moss on their team at halfback, and they had Devin Singletary on that team as well. These are two guys we'll be seeing both of here coming in this weekend to Arrowhead. And I'm a fan of Devin Singletary. He's real short and stocky kind of dude, but he's actually a good runner. But this year in particular, he's been less than effective compared to the previous year. Zach Moss, also same kind of thing. He's not producing as what they would like. I think what's cool and what's interesting about the Chiefs dynamic is this. We have Darrell Williams, who put up, how many rushes for 90 yards or something like that? Darrell Williams, we just had our third-string running back.
I thought it was like 9 or 11 or something like that.
Yes, Darrell Williams was 13 rushes for 78 yards, which is 6.0 yards per carry. Very impressive.
Yeah, very, very good. And that's one thing about Darrell is that he's just kind of one of those downhill, straight-line kind of running backs that just for whatever reason, he's just good at it. Or meanwhile, we have our other running backs like Le'Veon Bell, who he does dance around a little bit more in the backfield, and that may be something that doesn't necessarily fit our offense in the running game more than he fits our offense in the passing game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, meanwhile, does both very, very well, I think, in our system. But let's hope we have all three of those guys ready to go, because I think if we have all three of those guys as well as adding Sammy Watkins, I mean, how are you going to stop that? So
Hammett just wants to point out that it's funny Mike is wearing a Texas Tech T-shirt because Buffalo's classic Tech and how much they throw and refuse to run.
Classic Tech. I'm wearing this in representation of Patrick Mahomes, as we all know. I became a secondary Texas Tech fan.
Sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
Hey,
he's bringing up a good point though. Like he's saying that Buffalo refuses to run. Well, I'm going to tell you that right now. That's a big problem. You cannot refuse to run against the Chiefs.
Correct.
Or this game is going to be over. Because you have to establish the run, or your season is over.
Exactly.
You make yourself one-dimensional against the Chiefs, that's a problem.
All right, you guys ready to dive into a new topic real quick? And then we'll jump back into more things. My new topic is this. The last topic for both of you guys.
Oh, boy.
Is Deshaun Watson. It's a surprise topic because I want us to actually think about the idea that Deshaun Watson wants to leave over there in Houston. That whole organization has become a mess. And I know myself, even if I was in that situation, yeah, they drafted me, but I would not want to be involved in that, what they got going on over there. So the idea is this, is that I want to point out a couple things to you guys. Deshaun Watson is second all-time in quarterback passer rating. Do you guys realize that?
Yeah.
The only guy he's behind is Patrick Mahomes. Literally, if you take all their careers, and within like a minimum of, I think, 45 career starts, he's second all-time in passer rating. He's 28-25 career record, so nearly 500 career record. So you got a guy who's doing this much in his passer rating, but his record is nearly 500, so he's not winning nearly as much as he deserves to be winning. And meanwhile, he's got a 104 touchdown to 36 touchdown interception ratio. So this is a really good quarterback who's looking and wanting to be on the move. Meanwhile, he just signed a damn contract for 4 years and $156 million deal 1 year ago. This is an issue. The problem is with the Texans is this. They're losing all their talent. He's been sacked 174 times so far in his career, altogether, within 4 years of playing, and only getting worse as time goes on. And here we are wondering, like, when are they going to get better? He wanted to have input on the coach that they hired in Houston.
They got told. He got told he would have input.
He got told.
He got told from McNair himself.
Exactly.
He would have input.
He got told he had input. He wanted to have input. And here we are sitting here now where he's wanting to have input some more into the organization because he is the face of their franchise. But here we all of a sudden hear about rumors about he's not returning calls anymore, not answering calls from Houston Texans. He just doesn't want anything to do with them. And so he's being traded. So my point of bringing this up is this. Where, if anywhere, would Deshaun Watson end up if the Texans decided they wanted to get rid of him? I have 5 names I want to bring out and what your thoughts are on this. Think about this. Like, as I said, this is the guy with the second highest passer rating of all time in the NFL currently. My number 1 team I wanted to mention, 49ers. Is that a good fit?
49ers?
Nope.
No.
Not a good fit?
All right, hold on. If we're thinking fit, not really a trade, like it's a trade partner, just as a fit as a team, yeah, him with Shanahan, I'm in.
That's what I mean. Take those 2 things combined, and
As a trade partner?
for a fit, for where Watson would succeed,
No.
and a team that also wants it.
I mean-
it doesn't really matter with the 49ers because they're never going to get rid of Garoppolo.
No,
I mean,
they're
they're
not
going to
getting
hold
rid
on to
of Jimmy.
Garoppolo, so that's not going to happen.
They got to give up key pieces on their defense. They got to keep, they're building a great team. They got injured. They had horrible season with injuries. That means they're losing a lot of pieces and a lot of draft picks. No, it's not a good fit. It's a great fit for Deshaun, but not for the Texans.
If that's the case, my next team is the Carolina Panthers.
See, this one boggles me. Why are you just signing Teddy and then next year you want to go out and trade a bunch of picks for...
Maybe Teddy was their bridge to their next
Funny.
waters. You know what I'm saying?
No,
No, absolutely not. I'm not
No.
going with the Panthers
No.
because, we're looking for an ideal situation. If you're sitting in Deshaun Watson's shoes, you want the ideal situation, and the Panthers, they don't have enough pieces to win right now.
I got 2 of those coming up in just a minute here. Now, I agree, but what do you think about the Jets? Richard Sherman said the Jets where he should go.
do we ruin him now or later?
Well, first of all, Richard Sherman just said, get the hell out of there. He didn't, I know he said go to the Jets, but the best part of his advice was get the hell out of there.
Out of there, which means Houston.
Which is Houston.
But going to the Jets does not fix your problems, Jason.
Absolutely not.
And he
That's
did
not going
mention
to
the
happen.
first place I'd go was the Jets.
And
Which
and
makes
I
no
do
sense.
believe I do believe that Deshaun Watson is smart enough to not even entertain that. And at some point,
I would hope so.
I know that money talks, but we're talking about a guy that was in the same draft with Patrick Mahomes. And I just don't see it. I know they can throw a lot of money at him, but gosh, if Deshaun Watson is listening to this program, please do not go to the Jets.
No.
Because you will help your career if you go to a place that's going to help you.
I'm pretty sure Darnold's the only first round pick in the last 10 years that's still even there past their rookie contract. Just so you guys know. No, don't go to the Jets. It's going to be even worse than what you're getting in Houston right now.
All right, we got 2 more I want to ask you guys about. Next one is replacement for Drew Brees in the New Orleans Saints.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like that fit. I do.
Weapons,
I think Watson in New Orleans would be a great
Sean
trade.
Payton with a young running quarterback?
Peyton needs to load up on his draft. Whatever he can do. Get enough picks to pay
I'm in.
into giving the Texans what they want.
Just give it to him.
Go get Watson. I'd be up for it.
Yes, I am absolutely in on that. And if I'm speaking to the Saints right now, just give up the farm. Give up the farm because,
Do
you guys already have a great defense. So they got studs on defense. All you need is a quarterback to replace Drew Brees, and that could take them to the promised land.
Do it.
A
Do
young
it
quarterback
right now.
like Deshaun Watson, who's in his prime, and who's second all-time in passer rating. Why not?
The guy led the league in passing this year.
Yes, in
and
yards.
on a Houston team, guys, on a horrible Houston team without DeAndre
Didn't even have
Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Give up the
Exactly.
farm.
His
Give up
head
the
coach
farm.
got fired week 4 or week 5.
Yeah.
Seriously? You're not willing to
I
give
would-
up 3 first-round picks for this guy
if
that's
I'm
going
the
to lead you?
Saints, find a way to do it.
Oh, man, I
My
still be
next
all over.
one,
I'll
and
give him
final
4.
one on my list anyways, is the Pittsburgh Steelers if they got rid of Big Ben.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm up for it.
Mike Tomlin,
Yep.
I'm in.
exactly.
I love it.
Give them a good coach.
They need to get rid of those TikTok receivers, but I'll take about Mike Tomlin all
TikTok
day.
receivers. You don't like Juju?
No, they can't catch a damn ball, so I'm
Okay.
out. No.
Well, I do like that. I do.
I do like the Steelers, but was that the last team that you were going to bring up?
I hope you have one more for me, if you would.
Okay, because I've got to go with the Indianapolis Colts because, as we just talked about, the Saints lost a future Hall of Famer in Drew Brees, but the Colts also lost a potential future Hall of Famer in Phillip Rivers. And I just like the team that is already there. I like the fact that they've got players that they can build around Deshaun Watson, and so I guess that would be my top two choices would be the Saints and the Indianapolis Colts.
Jason, you read my mind. You read my mind. No reason why the Colts should not give up. Hell, here's 3 first rounds and a second rounder.
Give them the farm. That's what we say on the show.
That's all you need? All right, man. We're good then.
First of all, they have a great offensive line. They have a lot of talent on the O-line.
Can you imagine?
They can maintain that.
Can you imagine Watson behind a freaking good line? The receivers that can catch?
He's never once experienced that. And so that'd be his first time ever getting
It's the same thing that we said when we wanted the Nets to get James Harden. Give up the farm. That's all you got to do. It's a very simple game. Just give up the farm.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord! Hey, real quick, guys. I do real quick want to hear your thoughts on the situation. How do you guys feel about it, real quick? Like on this whole Deshaun Watson. Are you upset at Watson? Are you upset at Houston? Or do you care at all?
No, I'm upset with Houston for not holding up their end of the bargain, if that's the case, because obviously it was a situation where Watson, if he's the face of your franchise, he's the quarterback.
Yeah.
Imagine Kansas City not going to Patrick Mahomes before they hire their new new head coach. Or even GM for that matter.
GM.
Say they're getting a new GM. You go to your face of your franchise, who is in your mind or supposed to be in your mind, Deshaun Watson, or in the Kansas City Chiefs' mind, Patrick Mahomes. And you're starting over new within your tenure of coaching staff or your manager role position. You go to make sure your quarterback's happy, because at the end of the day, that's your guy. That's your face. You want to make sure he's happy with what he's getting. Imagine Peyton Manning, overriding anything he had to say. No, the guy plays the game. You want him to be happy because he's the one that produces at the end of the day. And so I think that's what at the end of the day that matters is for Deshaun Watson. He feels honestly very cheated out. Undermined a little bit. Because he was agreed upon to have input on who the next coach would be. Yeah, I'm a fan of what Watson has to think of this.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Deshaun Watson is like you're young, you've got your whole career ahead of you, and you're always going to be compared to Patrick Mahomes. And so you've got to put yourself in the best situation because who knows how many you're going to get a couple more good contracts after this, most likely. And so, sitting in his shoes, having the fact that you're always going to be compared to Patrick Mahomes, doesn't that motivate you as a player? What do you guys think about that?
You're in the same draft class. You're neck and neck each year in the passing yards, touchdowns, all that. Yeah, you want to have a good setup.
And that's my point. That's why I say there's no way in hell he's going to the Jets.
No, you're not going to the Jets.
I'll put it this way real quick, Tanner. I'd be more mad if Watson wasn't upset because at the end of the day, Watson's got a new contract, right?
Yeah.
He could sit there, shut his mouth, and not give a damn and just take his money. Watson cares about winning. Watson does want to win. He wants to have a legacy. He's 28-25 all-time career win-loss record. Who gives a shit about that record? That's a shitty record. No one gives a damn about that. He wants to be a winner. He wants to win a championship at some point, or at least be given the opportunity to do so.
That's correct.
So he's not having an input on who the coach is or who the manager even is of running that whole organization. He wants out. He doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with the things that are becoming along with it. He wants to be helping in the input because he knows he can be an influence on the entire team as being a franchise quarterback. And that is something I admire about him. He should be wanting to leave. I'm not going to lie. He should be wanting to leave that organization.
Correct. So, Randy Moss said it best. The shut up and play era is over.
Correct.
Shut up and play era is over. Now, this is not the NBA, guys. This is not freaking James Harden over here saying, send me to the winner. I'm not playing for you. I'm not playing for you. That's not the case. Watson is upset for reasons. like legit reason of unpromised staff from his owner, from the freaking owner of the team. I'm in for Watson. I hope he gets the best of the situation, because when J.J. Watt is asking for a trade, then there's an issue with your franchise.
Yes, and the bottom line is that Houston is a dumpster fire right now.
It's a shame.
So you got to get. I mean, if you're a decent player, you got to get the heck out of there, like Richard Sherman was saying.
You freaking sign the contract, then your number one receiver gets traded by your freaking GM head coach. Then your GM head coach gets fired week 4 or 5. What's left? You lead the league. You lead the league in passing. Lead the league in passing.
They went from Bill O'Brien
to Romeo Crennel.
And so at that point, you're just like, hey, I want some say into what's going to be going on with the future of my life.
Yeah.
As the
That's all he was asking for. He wasn't even asking to make the decision. He just wants to be part of the process. Let him make his input, and if they run with his input, great. He wasn't even asking for the control. He just wanted part of the process. And if you can't do that to a guy that's actually willing to help lead the team and change the team's atmosphere, the culture, to a winning, you don't deserve him.
I agree. Let's go down our Deshaun Watson discussion there for a minute, because I felt pretty heavy about that actually myself, as I looked into more of the situation, and I'm totally on his side about this.
By far. As I think
So
most everybody is.
I'm going to skip over something real quick, because we're going to hit this on the back end, I think, of our discussion. We're going to talk a little bit of Bucks and Packs preview, actually. But first and foremost, do you guys have anything tonight, as far as the NBA goes, that you guys saw that was interesting to you?
Yeah, I mean, we can go over the NBA right now. I'm looking at a final score of 147 to 135. The Brooklyn Nets actually lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This was Kyrie Irving's first game back after a long time of being out. And when you guys hear this box score, you're not going to believe it, that the Nets actually lost this game. KD basically shot 50%, 38 points. And Kyrie Irving, 15 of 28, better than 50% from the field. 37 points, guys. Kyrie Irving, first game back, 37 points. Kevin Durant, 38 points. James Harden, what happened to him? Well, he played 51 minutes because it was a double overtime game. So James Harden actually played 51 minutes, only scored 21 points. And he did not actually have a bad shooting game. He was 6 of 14 from the field, 3 of 6 from downtown. He had 10 rebounds and 12 assists. What does that say? Oh, yeah. By the way, James Harden had a triple-double, guys. What the heck happened in this game? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this was an anomaly, right? So you're sitting there as the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, my gosh, Kyrie Irving's coming back. What am I going to do with myself? And what happened is Cleveland Cavaliers showed up. And let's be honest right now, Cleveland is not a good team. They're not going to be a contender. They might make the playoffs if they're lucky. But they just took the Brooklyn Nets to a double overtime game in Kyrie Irving's first game back. When Kyrie Irving blew up, Kevin Durant blew up, James Harden had 21 with a triple-double. So the big three actually blew up. Now, what am I looking at as far as what went wrong in this game? Well, Joe Harris, in the first 2 games after they acquired James Harden, Joe Harris was putting up 17 and 20 points a game. Okay, in this particular game, Joe Harris shot 2 of 10 from the field, 2 of 7 from downtown, and only had 6 points in the game. So this was kind of an anomaly game for me because, as I told you guys last week, the Nets, they've got the best 5 starters in the NBA right now. And when Joe Harris is hitting all those shots, by the way, he shoots 43% for his career. And all of a sudden, you've got a big 3 on the Brooklyn Nets. What do you think you're going to be doing if you're Joe Harris? Yeah, you're going to be wide open almost every single shot that you take. So this was an anomaly game for him. It went to double overtime. This game should have never gone to overtime, because if Joe Harris would have just gone 3 of 10 instead of 2 of 10, this game would have been over. So don't take too much stock into this game, guys. It was a double overtime game. Cleveland Cavs, 147, 135. The Nets, don't worry about it. Nets are still going to the finals. I'm looking at the Bovada odds right now. So you look at Bovada, they've got the LA Lakers at plus 240 and Brooklyn plus 300. What does that mean? That means both of those guys are going to the finals, and either one of them could make it to the championship or could win the championship. So I want to know you guys' thoughts, Tanner and Mike. What do you think about the new look Brooklyn Nets? Do you think they are the favorites to win the title? Because when I look at James Harden, his first game versus the Orlando Magic, he had 32, 12, and 14. Just think about that for a second. That's ridiculous.
What did Durant have?
That's ridiculous. 32, 12, and 14. Durant had 42 points. Okay? Joe Harris was 4 of 9 from three-point land with 17 points. And his second game, James Harden's second game versus the Milwaukee Bucks, who a lot of people think are going to the finals. Oh yeah, James Harden put up 34, 6, and 12. KD had 30 points. And Joe Harris had 20 points. Right? So in my mind, Joe Harris is the 4th best player on this team.
Correct.
So if he's putting up 17 to 20 points a game, and in that particular game against the Bucks, he shot 5 of 7 from 3. What do you guys think is going to happen? Because to me, you can take this to the bank. The Nets are going to be in the finals.
All right, real quick for you. The reason also the Cleveland Cavaliers won, Colin Sexton decided to show up today and score 42 freaking points. So there's that for you as well. Rock on, Sexton. Anyways, so are the Nets going to be in the finals? Are we talking about the Brooklyn Nets in the finals? Only if they can mesh up well enough. I think they have to get through that struggle here. Luckily, it's early in the season still. But if they can mesh up, they get that team chemistry with Irving coming back here, Kyle Irving coming back, I think the Nets can make it to the finals.
Yeah, so Kyrie Irving is back. And my question to you guys, and my question is, like, you know, everybody's complaining about the defense. Who's going to stop them? And honestly, when I look at the roster, it doesn't even matter. Like, we said that Kyrie was sitting out for a long period of time. And I said to myself, like, who cares? They don't need him. If you got KD and James Harden, they don't need Kyrie. They're going to put up like 120 points a game.
Trade him.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying that even though I do believe that Kyrie will be there and that he is going to fit in well into that offense, they don't even need him. So what do you think about that, Mike? Do you think the Nets are going to the finals?
Absolutely. I don't know why Tanner's even questioning it right now, because that currently is the super team of the NBA. I know we've seen it in the past with the Golden State, and the Lakers have at times been a super team as well. I think that Harden and Durant combined is enough alone to get them to where they need to be. I know you like Joe Harris, but Kyrie Irving to add to the mix is ideal. I mean, I think that guy puts them over the top to where they are there in the finals. The only question would be, who's their competitor? Who's going to stop them from where they need to be going? And who's going to stop them from winning the championship? Because I think that is the best team. What do you guys think about Spencer Dinwiddie? What do you guys think about that guy?
Well, right now he's injured. So
how long?
But he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
Back to the championship?
Yes,
That's
I
what
do believe
that's
he
what
would be
matters.
back.
He should be back.
So that's
what
what you
matters.
always need. I mean, you always got to have a backup point guard
That's what matters.
to throw into the mix. But right now, guys, the mainstream media is saying that nobody's going to play defense on that team.
There's three
So,
teams, guys. There's three teams.
Right. So do we even think it matters? When you're putting up 120, 125 points a game, you shouldn't have to play defense. But I will say that one thing that the Nets remind me of is the Kansas City Chiefs, because in the midst of, like, you say, the second and third quarter, you might be watching the game and say, oh, their defense is not very good right now. But they always step up at the end of the game. So the Chiefs defense, I do believe, when it comes crunch time, they're going to step up at the end of the game. And I think the same way about the Nets. They've got a good rim protector in DeAndre Jordan. They've got Kevin Durant, who is going to play defense and protect the rim when he wants to, meaning the end of the game. If they're playing a team by the name of, maybe the Los Angeles Lakers, he might step up and protect the rim and play defense. They got Bruce Brown. He's a good defender. But I look at KD. He's very similar to LeBron in that both of those guys, they like to play defense in crunch time. And so you might say, LeBron is getting too old, KD's too old, they don't play defense. But, LeBron's 36, KD's 32. Both of these guys, when it's crunch time, they're going to play some defense. And so I do believe in KD, and I do believe in DeAndre Jordan. He's only 32 years old. And the bottom line for me is if the Nets can average 120 to 125 points per game for the season, the defense is not going to matter that much, guys, especially in the regular season. The only time that defense is going to matter is in the playoffs and in the finals. And I do believe the Nets, they've got what it takes. They are going to step up in defense. And if they do play the LA Lakers in the finals, then I do believe they are going to get stops when they need it. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think the Nets need to play defense, or do you think they have the necessary parts to play defense when it matters at the end of the game?
I don't think they can play defense at all, to be honest with you. There's two teams, though, that they need to play defense against, but they also need to score like crazy, as they usually would. Philadelphia 76ers, guys. It's first place in the conference right now at 10-5. They just beat up on Boston, who was 7-3 their last 10 without Jason Tatum. Remind you that, and it was a pretty close game in that one. So there's those two teams. I'm not worried about the Bucks really in this conference. I think in the end they're going to have the same result they have last year. It's going to come down to Giannis, and Giannis isn't going to be able to finish. So I think it goes. If anybody's going to stop the Nets in this conference, 76ers, Boston, as long as those two stay healthy.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you're bringing up the Sixers, but my problem is that Ben Simmons can't shoot. So what do you say about that, Mike? Do you think the Nets are going to play defense this year, or does it even matter?
I think it does matter. I think it does matter for sure. I think when it comes down to the stretch of the season, as we know, going down, I mean, you can win 70 games, right, by just scoring points, right? But it gets down to the playoffs and the championship. I think that's when it's going to be becoming more of a relevant situation coming into June. As far as that's when the playoffs, or the championships, I should say, start. And I do think that they have enough talent as of right now with Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden. Those are the guys you want to have on your team to be pushing forward, as well as Jeff Green. But I think that those are guys, if you're looking for, to carry you to the way, but not finish you off. I think once you get there, you got to have some defense.
Right.
And this is the defense. This is the team that could want to add even another piece as time goes on, I think.
Well, I will say this, Tanner. I appreciate the fact that you also brought up the Milwaukee Bucks. So my next question to you guys is, are you buying or selling that the Bucks are going to make it to the finals instead of the Nets?
Selling all day. Selling all day, man.
If I'm the Bucks,
you think they're going to make it to the finals?
If I'm the Bucks, I ride with what I got. Ride with what you got.
But do you think they'll make it to the finals over the Nets?
No.
Heck no, that's not going to happen. You know why? As we know, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a beast. But the problem I have with them is that when they were playing the Nets in that last game, they weren't even running plays for him in crunch time. They were running plays for Middleton. And so when you look at the Bucks' big three, I kind of look at that as a poor man's LA Lakers big three, right? So you got Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Drew Holiday. I mean, if you're sitting there throwing the ball to Chris Middleton in crunch time, when Giannis is your superstar player, that does not spell
Success.
NBA Finals for me.
No, that spells repeat of what happened last year in the playoffs. Unfortunately, it's what the case is. I love the Drew Holiday pickup, by the way. I love that free agent signing for them, but they need a lot more pieces to go around Giannis.
Yeah, and that's my problem with the Bucks is that they've got so many good defenders on that team.
So many, like they're a great defensive team, but they can't score.
But when you play the Nets, you're not going to be able to stop any of those guys. You could be, like I said, Drew Holiday, Giannis. Those guys are great defenders, but that's against the rest of the league. You throw them up against the big three of the Nets, they're not going to be able to stop anybody. So, I mean, my whole point in this whole conversation is that I do believe that the Brooklyn Nets big three is going to seem like a big four because Joe Harris, he's going to be shooting wide open. He shoots 43% for his career, and now all of a sudden you've got Kyrie, KD, and James Harden on your team. Do you really think that guy is ever going to see a hand in his face? No, he never will. He's going to average like 15 to 20 points a game, and that's why I call these guys a big four, because Joe Harris is a sharpshooter. And so they may have Joe Harris might have the worst defender every single game they play. Joe Harris will have the worst defender on the team guarding him, and he'll hit wide open threes.
Yeah, real quick too, I was going to say, do you know why they built this team? You know why James Harden came to that team? Because they got to stop the king, baby. They got to stop the king. We'll see in the finals.
Yeah, Tanner, we know that, but here's the thing. We also know that the NBA is going to be going on for their 6 freaking months, correct?
Yeah, about 6.
Okay,
about
thank you.
4 to 6 months.
Well, we're going to have a lot more to talk about that as time goes on here on the Sports Buffoons. And you guys have one more thing to say about this?
No, man.
To me, it's not about. You're going to see the Lakers and Nets in the finals. We all know this, but it's like I talked about in my previous podcast. The Lakers have the best roster, but if you're talking about the best 3 or the best 5 players that we can throw on the court at any given time, I'm taking the Nets all day long. But they have to stay healthy. If Kyrie gets injured again, that's a different game.
I don't think Kyrie's the issue, though. I think if Kyrie gets injured, it's not a big deal. I think it's if James or Kevin get injured, then you're looking at a huge issue on the team right now.
Yeah, it's a huge issue, but I still think if they stay healthy, this is a no-brainer for me. The Nets are going to win the championship, but if they're not healthy, you give me the Lakers all day long because they've got 11 rotational players. They roll 11 deep.
Yeah, I don't bet against the King. So King wins.
All right, you guys. We have to kick back into NFL playoff discussion real quick. As you guys know, we have a total of 3 NFL games left of this entire season. And it means 3 football games left until August for you guys, which means like preseasons, which we don't really give a fuck about, which we do, but we don't. You know what I mean? So what I'm going to say is this. This is an important game. This is an important game just as much as important it is for the Chiefs and Bills game. This is the Bucks versus Packers game going on before the Kansas City Chiefs go on the field at 2:05 p.m. Central Time, those of you listening. And now, keep in mind, the Buccaneers already defeated the Packers once this year. And I don't understand why the spread is so heavily favored of Green Bay. I do get it because Rodgers is playing on fire. Packers have a good defense. But I did want to read you guys real quick before you guys respond to me. 10 reasons the Bucks beat the Packers. This comes from the Tampa Bay Tribune. Reason number 1, the best run defense the past 2 seasons combined. Number 1 last year and number 1 year before.
Fair.
Best run defense.
Fair. Okay,
so Aaron Jones might be negated. That's a good reason, I suppose. You should say that.
Fair.
Jair Alexander can't cover everyone. Basically, the Packers cornerback, who we all know very well by now, came from, I believe, Oklahoma. He's not able to cover everyone. I mean,
Fair.
that's fine, I guess. They have a star player, and I guess that's one of their reasons. But number 3, Brady's better than Rodgers. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I guess.
We'll get to that later.
No, I thought the same thing.
Maybe.
Number 4, 8-6 in games. Let's see, with one or more turnovers, not sustainable. So basically, the Packers this year were like undefeated in games where they didn't turn the ball over, or in the past 2 years or whatever. Where in games where they do turn the ball over one or more times, they're 8-6. And so they're saying that's not sustainable because Tampa Bay will turn the ball over. That's one of the reasons. Okay, I shrug my shoulders once again. Number 5, Bucks young secondary is their 5th excuse. That was literally their excuse. The Bucks young secondary. JG is going to go leave and use the restroom, I believe, because he's sick of this bullshit. Number 6.
It's a pretty bad list.
Running the ball more. Because now Tampa Bay is running the ball more, Tanner. They went from passing a lot, and now they're running the ball more with Fournette and Ronald Jones.
Fair.
That's
fair.
now a new excuse for why they're going to win.
Fair.
Number 7 was Packers defense lacks pressure. Which, at the time, they were like 29th in pressure and sacks when they played back in October earlier in this year. And apparently the Packers have figured themselves out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, this wasn't updated then.
But that was based on from October.
Okay.
Number 8, the Bucks can make field goals now. Ryan Suckup, who we all know, 35 and 38 on his field goals this year. So that's one of the reasons, Tanner, that they could win is Ryan Suckup is now part of their team.
Yeah.
At 35 and 38 for field goals. Number 9, Tanner, Devin White, the linebacker. That's why they'll win.
Because he's healthy.
That's one of the reasons they're going to win.
That's fair.
Okay. Number 10 is this. The Lightning won the Stanley Cup, Tanner. The Rays reached Game 6 of the World Series, so now it's the Bucks' turn to make the trifecta.
Yeah, they reached the NFC National
right.
Championship game. Correct.
That is the list of reasons that we guys read off from the Tampa Bay Tribune out there down at Florida.
So what's your pick? Who are you picking in this game?
Sounds like a lot of dog shit going on out there. They're reaching and screeching for anything they can fucking handle. Anyways, what do you guys have to say about this game? Anything in particular that wants to stand out to you? I'll do picks when you're done talking.
Yeah, that's a close game, guys. I mean, when I compare defenses, and offense, honestly, they're very close. I mean, Tampa Bay on defense, they give up 327 yards per game. Green Bay's 334. It's very close. Offensively, they're very similar in the amount of points per game that they put up. The one thing that jumped out at me a little bit is the fact that Pro Football Focus, they had Tampa Bay as the number 8th best pass rush in the NFL. Green Bay was number 15, which is considered slightly above average. And so the thing that I'm looking about in this game is that if Tampa Bay can actually get to Aaron Rodgers, that might have an impact in this game to a certain extent. But honestly, overall, this is a battle of wills, guys. You got a 43-year-old Tom Brady going up against Aaron Rodgers. So this is what it comes down to. You've got the GOAT versus a guy that's won one Super Bowl. He's trying to get to his 2nd Super Bowl. And so Brady, he's not going into this game thinking that his legacy is cemented. And he's not thinking, if I just win the NFC Championship game, then that's going to make my career even better. No, he wants to win another Super Bowl, okay? So, and I'm not saying Tom Brady is looking past this game, but I don't want you guys to think that, he's sitting there thinking to himself, look at all these rings I have. I don't even have to show up to this game. That's not going to happen. This guy is chasing the ghost. And I read an article on this one time. He is chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan, because Jordan had 6 rings. Brady wants to get to a 7th ring. So we're not talking about the GOAT of the NFL right now. This guy is chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. He wants to have more rings than Michael Jordan. He wants to be the GOAT of all sports. And so if he can just win this game, and you guys can give me your opinion on this, in my opinion, if he just wins this NFC Championship game, it's going to cap off an amazing career as the GOAT, and I do believe that he is going to lose. If they win this game, he is going to lose in the Super Bowl. But what an amazing way to cap off his legacy if he could just switch teams at the drop of a hat, go to the Bucs, and win an NFC Championship game.
What?
I do have the Bucs winning this game. So I've got 31-27 Bucs.
He's pulling a Brett Favre almost.
Why did you say cap off like he's going to retire or something?
Well, I think he should retire. He's freaking
Brady?
43 years old.
Retired like 3 years ago, dude.
Phenomenally.
Yeah,
I wouldn't retire yet.
No, I don't think he should retire. But I'm not sitting there next year expecting him to look like he was when he was in his prime.
Throw 40 touchdowns.
I'm talking about prime Tom Brady.
But he's 43.
So I'm not saying he's going to
40
quit.
touchdowns?
I'm not saying he's going to quit, but he thinks of himself right now. I mean, he thinks of himself as being prime Tom Brady, and if he wins this NFC Championship game, like he's going to another Super Bowl, guys.
The guy's still playing, regardless of what happens in this game.
31-27 Bucs. That's my final answer.
That's the final. All right, real quick, guys. It's a guy named Aaron Rodgers. He's playing MVP season like he did back when they won the Super Bowl. This guy's unreal. The defense is showing up late the season as they did last week against the crappy Rams. But they did what they needed to do. Devontae Adams, the Lizard King, they're all rolling, baby. I have no worries about this. Jamal Williams is running. I'm loving it. I'm loving this Packers team. Now, you got Tom Brady, who just beat the Saints after they got stopped twice by the Saints. Tom Brady? Guys, this guy is the GOAT, and he is nobody to mess with. And Aaron Rodgers knows this. Aaron Rodgers knows this. I have no worries. Sorry, back up here. Packers should worry about that side of the ball. Outside of that, I'm not worried about the Buccaneers defense. Aaron Rodgers can play his game. Best O-line in the freaking game right now. They held Aaron Donald in check. Packers win. I am going 42 to 31. Packers.
Wow. I'll put it this way. Tanner. Carlton Davis has a pick 6. And Aaron Jones has 60 yards total on the ground. Tom Brady has 3 touchdowns. Ronald Jones has 2.
You're talking about week 6?
Wait, was I reading off those numbers?
Are you talking about week 6?
My point is this. In the snow, in Green Bay,
It's going to be cold as hell,
20
too.
degree weather, Tom Brady defeats Aaron Rodgers. Score is this. 31, Jason JG, 28.
Did you just pick the Bucs?
He
He
I
tricked me.
picked the Bucs.
He was telling me all day long he was going to pick the
I
Packers.
picked the Bucs.
That was a surprise, guys. Real quick, fun fact about this week. Week 6, the Buccaneers defeated the Packers. Week 6, the Chiefs beat the Bills. These are 2 Week 6 matchups happening again. Just so
Wow.
you guys know.
So repeats.
So it's repeats of literally the same
I
week.
like that. That's kind of funny, actually.
So yeah, kind of
Say
a
it
cool
that
deal.
way. All right, guys, we've been on for a long freaking time tonight. I have no idea how long we've been on for, but it's been.
You
long.
don't want to know, baby.
I have no idea. I don't want to know. I'm probably gonna be mad when I see the end of this recording. I have some editing to do tonight for you guys, but as far as our topics, do you guys have anything else you want to add?
For topics wise, no, I got nothing.
No, I can't believe you said that's going to be a snow game. Do you know the forecast of that?
Was it a snow game?
Is it going to be another Tom Brady
So
snow game?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
no, it's not gonna be a snow game,
I think it could be.
but it's gonna be cold as hell.
Well, I just looked it up. It's a 2% chance of snow.
It's not gonna be.
2% chance.
It had snowed all week up in Wisconsin in that area, but it's not going to be a snow game.
That's also, we're on Wednesday. That'll be Sunday night, so we'll see.
Well, if there is a snow game, that just gives Tom Brady another advantage.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We'll see how that plays out.
Hammett thinks the Packers take it, and your dad says Watson should go to the Bears. So, just FYI,
The
real quick.
Bears?
The
All right.
Bears. So, hey guys, give us a follow. Give us a like, subscribe on YouTube as well. We're on Twitch, YouTube, all the major podcast platforms.
What about this Ma, Tanner? What about Ma? What is this?
So we got Ma, guys. So we do have an affiliate with Ma.
Tanner.
I use this thing every day. So it comes in this canister here. Has I believe they say it's over 175 cans of Red Bull in it. So it's a lot of caffeine.
How many?
One jar is more than 175 Red Bulls.
Total jar. But what about one scoop?
I don't know.
Okay,
Do
just
the
take as
math.
many scoops as you need then. So
So-
you're happy.
I used this thing through Christmas. I wanted to try it out. It was fabulous. I love it. It works. I use it as a pre-workout. I use it as a focus and energy throughout the day. Our affiliate link will be in the link below as you listen. So we will get that out there. But you get 10% off, and you also get a free jar as part of being a new customer for them. So that all proceeds go to help the channel, guys. All proceeds go to help the channel. So please click, check it out. At least check it out and see what you guys think about it. So, yeah. You guys got anything else?
No, you
Yeah,
nailed it.
no.
You nailed it right there, Tanner.
Okay, Earl. Hey,
Very happy.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, guys, we're all there. Other than that, guys,
Glad.
have a fabulous championship weekend.
Yeah, guys, I hope you guys are joining us every single week because this is one of the best times of the year. You got NFL playoffs and you got NBA going on. So hope you guys keep up with us every single week. And this is JG. I'm out.
And I'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.